country, the Seminoles of Florida State are ranked 6th. Time now for the Lowe's starting lineups. And for that, let's take you across the court to public address announcer Jeff Pearsall.
The Leon County Civic Center for this afternoon's ball game between the University of North Carolina Tar Heels and your Florida State Seminoles. First, the starting lineup for the visiting Tar Heels. At a guard, a 6'3" junior from East Elmhurst, New York, number 14, Derek Phelps. 7' junior from Indianapolis, Indiana, 00, Eric Montross. At a forward, a 6'5" junior from the Bronx, number 31, Brian Reese. And at the other forward, a 6'8" senior from Roanoke, Virginia, number 34, George Lynch. Head coach of the Tar Heels, Dean Smith. On your feet, Seminoles, it's Scott Bell. Here now, the starting lineup for the newest member of the Atlantic Coast Conference, your Florida State Seminoles. Starting at guard, a 6'3" senior from Baltimore, Maryland, number 10, Sam Castle. At the other guard, a 6'5" sophomore from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, number 3, Bob Shue. Starting at center, a 6'9" senior from Delray Beach, Florida, number 34, Rodney Dumas. At a forward, a 6'9" senior from Tampa, Florida, number 33, Byron Wells. And at the other forward, a 6'9" senior from Miami, Florida, number 32, Doug Edwards. Head coach of the Seminoles is Pat Kennedy.
This one should be fun. We'll be back with the start of the game, the opening tip, right after this.
To keep your competitive edge, you can...
The ACC has come to Tallahassee. Overall, though, Carolina leads 12-3. We're all set to go. The officials, Rusty Herring, Sam Croft, and Stan Rote. Cassell to Edwards, big goal. Three-quarter court press by the Seminoles. This is Williams. Phelps at the top. This will be a classic matchup here. Cassell and Phelps all day. Montross down low, has it blocked away by Edwards. Montross again. Tied up and taken away. Sura is fouled, and I believe it's on Donald Williams.
Timothy Millard, the electricity in this place is scary. Montross doubled up down on the post, and the thieves have begun. The Seminoles, they take your hubcaps, your fillings, your watch, anything, and they're off and running. Bobby Sura at the end of the break takes on 2 in light blue and draws the foul. That opening tip was a play. Montross controlled the tip, but the Seminoles stole it with a little backdoor pass, and it was amazing how they got everything the way they wanted it right off the bat.
Bobby Sura complaining that he has blood on his arm. He says somebody's bleeding on him. The foul was called on Lynch. That's his first. And Lynch is bleeding and will have to be removed from the game to have that treated. And so, with Lynch going out, Salvadori comes into the game for the Tar Heels.
That better matches up with Florida State, who started their big team. And I think the thinking there was to try to keep Montross from getting off. He's had great starts. Carolina trying to establish him down low, and he is the one guy that they physically cannot handle down there if the Heels can get the ball to him.
Bobby Sura misses them both. action in the first minute of play here. 19 minutes to go in the first half. 2-0 Florida State. Inside to Montross, and we're tied at 2.
They've got to put more pressure on the ball. Phelps can measure that pass into Montross. He had lots of time to do it. There's a matchup there. Phelps very good defensively. What a pass.
Wells travels. Turnover number 1 for the Seminoles.
That pass went through there. He could have thrown that pass through a car wash and not gotten it wet. I mean, that was a line drive.
Salvadori had trouble getting it across the timeline. Now does. Pat Kennedy wanted a walk. This is Reese. Blocked by Wells. Here comes Sura. Cassell for 3. Yes. Turnover, palmed it. That's 2 turnovers for the Tar Heels.
Tar Heels out of sync early here against the pressure. One of the keys, Reese gets it rejected by Wells, and boy, one of the things they do very best is when they get that turnover, if it's deep or if it's at midcourt, they are off and running.
Edwards out of control. Called for the offensive foul. That'll be his first. Second team foul against Florida State.
But it still gives them a chance on the dead ball to set up their pressure. Montross trying to be the good outlet in the middle of the floor to take the pressure off, but he's been awkward trying to get rid of it. Boy, what quickness the Seminoles have.
Lynch gets it across. 5-2 Florida State. This is Phelps. Lynch on the baseline, kicks it out to Reese. Fight for the rebound. Lynch has it. Wells will get him running. NBA 3.
That was from Thomasville, Georgia. Charlie Ward's hometown, just over the border.
Williams to Phelps. Lynch scores.
I think Dean Smith would like to keep the Seminoles on defense a little bit longer. Make them work. Try and get to that bench. Wear down the offensive potential of that club just by keeping them on D.
How long can they keep this tempo?
Well, that's another question. You got to ride out the adrenaline.
.16:42 to go first half. Bobby Sura shoots again. Too strong. He struggled offensively so far. Phelps penetrates. Maybe overpass. Turns it over. That's 3 turnovers for the Tar Heels. Edwards down the lane.
The North Carolina big men are really trying to get back. They've made it a commitment, but the quickness of the Seminoles just too much.
7-4 Florida State. Tim Brandt and Bucky Waters with you in Tallahassee.
Now to 1-3 in a chaser. Sura now tracking Donald Williams.
Lynch at the foul line. Too strong. But followed by Montross.
Boy, you get the feeling that Florida State's doing everything so well, and you look up at the scoreboard, it's 1-point game. That's what that crowd influence will do.
Edwards up top. This is Sura. Double teamed in the corner. Edwards pulls up for the jumper and cans it.
That ball did 2 victory laps on the inside of the rim.
He has 6 points. Lynch, left-handed layup, and the foul. This will be on Dobard.
I just don't think Florida State can keep up that pace. Not with their depth problem.
The first on Dobard. Salvadori comes into the game. Rodel comes into the game, and Sullivan will come into the game. 15-15 to go in the first half.
And also number 33, Kevin Salvador.
It's Florida State 9, North Carolina 6. We'll be back with more right after this.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, a remodeled kitchen turned into the McLaren's new family.
Pick block. Keeps it in play. Bobby Sura off and running. The Seminoles at their best. This time he's under control. Sam Cassell steps up, has the wide open jumper, and Kansas. One of the problems for the Seminoles is defending inside. One of the few times Montross all by himself. He's been fighting a war, but he took that one, and he didn't phone that one in. He drained it.
See the numbers on Eric Montross. 2 for 3 from the field today, 4 points. Lynch just 1 for 4, 2 points. For Florida State, the storyline so far is Edwards 3 for 3 from the field, 6 points. And Bobby Sura off to a slow start. He's 0 for 2. (15-15) to go in the first half. 9-6 Florida State. Sullivan to Rodel. Down to Montross, has it blocked again. And finally Cassell is called for the foul. That'll be Sam's first.
Florida State with that swarming defense. Absolutely no respect for the outside shot. Look at those gold jerseys. Just a fence around Montross, defying him to punch out, and for the Tar Heels to prove that three. They're just relentless.
Wells goes out of the game. Maurice Robinson checks in for Florida State. He's a 6'6" freshman. Shot clock definitely has not been a factor in this game.
They could save some money in the budget down here at Florida State on that, except for an occasional opponent that might use it.
Rodel for 3, and we're tied at 9. Foul away from the basketball. Technical foul called for the elbow. Who did he call that on, Bucky?
I think Montross.
It is on Montross. Technical foul for throwing the elbow. So Douglas Edwards will go to the line. He's a 74% free throw shooter, averages 18 points a game.
There was a huge technical in that first North Carolina-Florida State game. It was on Pat Kennedy, Florida State coach, and a part of that tremendous comeback by the Heels.
Dean Smith takes Montross right out of the game, too. Lynch comes back in.
Smith going to his bench early. Sullivan, Salvador, Rodel coming in.
Edwards makes them both. Florida State will have the ball. On the floor right now for North Carolina is Lynch, Phelps, Salvadori, Rodel, and Sullivan. Dobard, Edwards, Robinson, Sura, and Cassell for Florida State. Seminoles by 2.
Here showing a little matchup zone out there.
Oh, look at this. Tried to get the alley-oop underneath and couldn't do it. Dobard had come free for just a second.
Boy, Lynch did a tremendous job of getting down to the block and establishing.
Inside to Lynch, kicks it back out. This is Sullivan. Got away with a walk. Officials say he never left the floor.
That was his Baryshnikov imitation.
Did a pretty nice job. No whistle.
I think he may have had that. I think he may have kept it down. He certainly got the one leg way up, but this is good strategy by the Heels. Make them work.
Shot clock at 7. Sullivan's got a fire, does, and gets it back. They reset the clock.
Sura was almost out to half court, ready to take the outlet pass. He's got to go back in there and help on the boards against the Tar Heels.
This is Phelps. Rodel inside to Lynch. Oh, nice little jump hook.
Lynch is picking on Robinson, too.
Second tie of the game. We're tied at 11.
Oh, this is where the Seminoles missed Charlie Ward, who played in that first game in Chapel Hill.
Bobby Sura gives it up to Edwards. And the follow inside is good by Dobard.
In the half court, the dribble penetration is the key to the Seminole attack. If they can't do that, they're going to struggle.
Rodel for three.
Florida State now without Ward, a little out of sync with the pressure.
Carolina with its first lead of the game.
They had their first lead in Chapel Hill in that first meeting with 41 seconds to go.
Edwards is good for two. (15-14) Florida State. Steal by Cassell, and he's fouled by Sullivan.
That's a pretty good foul. In his best days, Sullivan would not have caught him. There's that quickness. Sam really never really quite got control. Sullivan, I think, did the smart thing with a little touch foul back there. Just their third foul, and that would have been a slam dunk.
Ryan Reese and Donald Williams check back into the game for the Tar Heels.
Heels continue to mix up the defenses.
FSU leads by 1.
Very soft press now by the Tar Heels. I mean, soft zone matchup.
Bad pass by Bobby Sura. Lynch ahead to Williams. And Sura throws it away again.
That's 2 in a row with no conscience.
11:35 to go in the half. A 1-point game. We'll be back after a word from our good friends at Bud Dry.
Final.
Lynch, a force inside, has been running the floor extremely well this afternoon, especially since the rookie Robinson came in the game. Nice soft turnaround, Jay. He's been posting the rookie up. Here's Sura, who at times can keep both teams in the game at the same time, making a superb pass to Douglas Edwards underneath that Dobard puts back in for a winner. Just before we went to break, he threw 2 away, but it doesn't bother him. He just keeps coming back.
1-point game, but Sura does struggle. 3 turnovers, 0 for 2 from three-point land, and 0 for 2 from the free throw line. Carolina just shooting 36%.
Oh, that's scary. And only down 1.
Give credit to the Florida State defense. This is Rodel. Lynch has it blocked away by Cassell. Oh, is he quick? He scores and he's fouled.
Anytime you turn the ball over to Florida State from the free throw line to half court, it's a knee jerk and a fast break. Duke and Florida State does the best job of converting those turnovers into hoops at the other end. You've got no chance to recover. Sam here parts the light blue waters, takes on 3 light blue jerseys, somehow manages to get daylight, get it in, and get fouled.
Foul on Donald Williams, his first. See Phelps checking back into the ball game. Cassell at the line. And he converts the 3-point play. The announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Raycom and Jefferson Pilot Sports. Any use of this broadcast without their express permission is prohibited.
Florida State changing up their pressure now, right at half court. Carolina content to just run them a little bit.
Florida State leads by 4.
Montross not at home out there in the mid-baseline.
Followed by Lynch.
One of the weaknesses of that defense is it's going to give some jump shots, and it's very poor as far as defensive rebounding.
You saw how Florida State's been capitalizing on the turnovers very effectively. Florida State 18, Carolina 16. This is Cassell. Wells takes Montross to the baseline, shoots over him. And there's Cassell with another rebound.
For 6'3", he's an effective rebounder.
Wells throws it away. Oh, big shot by Reese.
Boy, he's a slasher. See, the Heels, they're best when they're running. So, you know, we're really dealing with both teams going with their strength, eyeball to eyeball. Nobody's blinking. Here's the run and jump.
Robinson. Hands picks up his dribble and gets it back to Edwards. Off balance. Wells with a loose ball. Robinson.
Tim, he didn't realize how alone he was.
Reese is fouled by Robinson at the other end. That'll be his first. Fourth team foul against Florida State.
Robinson wide open under. Look at that, all by himself. He scores, and while he's saying to himself, gee, I was really wide open down there. The Heels took off and left. A terrific counter by Dean Smith against the full court pressure by the Seminoles on makes. They're taking the ball out of the basket and just running before Florida State can set up their press.
Ryan Reese averages 10 points a game. He's had a lot of injuries this year. That slowed him down a little bit. Bad ankle, bad back. Had a big game against Notre Dame, though, this week. Makes the second one. And makes it a one-point game. Robinson checks out. Dobart comes back in for Florida State.
Carolina had an easy time with Notre Dame on Tuesday night. Very rested coming in here. The Seminoles ran into a furious pressure defense by the Blue Devils. Just got waxed on Wednesday. You got to know that the Heels are much better rested, prepared mentally for this one.
Dobart. Great pass from Edwards.
Nice high-low dunk down. One of the things that the scouts at the next level like about Edwards is his passing ability.
Reese. Montross with a give and go, and Reese converts.
That's hard to do against the 1-3-1 and a chaser that's supposed to take away that play on the blocks.
22-21. Florida State still leads by 1.
Seminoles not always aware of when that run and jump is coming.
Wells from three-point range. I'm not sure that's the shot that Pat Kennedy wanted.
That's the one that buried Duke in overtime. He's got confidence in it.
Carolina turns it over again. At 6. Williams. And Carolina leads by 1.
Relentless pressure by the Heels. Here and there taking its toll. Even when they don't make the steal, they're wearing down Cassell.
Bucky Bobby Sura is really struggling, and you can tell he's frustrated. Edwards is fouled by Derek Phelps. Carolina coaches wanted offensive. Sam Croft with the call, and it's a good one.
Here's Bobby Sura, just not quite getting it together today. That was simply a trip that wasn't called. I guarantee you that guy's not that clumsy. He's a flyer.
Crowd wanted to foul on Montross there.
Great rotation by Lynch.
Ahead to Williams. This is for 3. Followed by Lynch.
The pace of this game is furious. There's 7:30 to go, but it's still a 22-25 game. And Carolina's got the 25.
The Tar Heels' biggest lead. It's 3 points. Great pass to Wells. Wells hesitates and finally gets it in.
Boy, he made that a tough shot. I think Pat Kennedy would like to see his guys go for the hoop and get some fouls on Montross.
Montross has his shot blocked for the 3rd time today, and Lynch with the follow.
Heels really working them over on that offensive board.
Now 27-24 is our score, North Carolina. Sura is pushed from behind by Williams. That'll be the second on Williams, and the 6th team foul against North Carolina. Six minutes and 44 seconds remaining in the first half. 27-24, Carolina.
One of the problems when you're playing changing defenses and junk defenses is defensive rebounding. And the guys in light blue have been finding the seams to get on that board. And this is something Carolina really wants to do, and they've started the last several games by finding the big fella early. Just too much strength inside. Lynch with 10 points has been relentless on that offensive board. Bobby Sura has yet to score.
He's got the 10 points you mentioned, plus 6 rebounds, 4 offensive. 3-point Tar Heel lead. This is Sura. Cassell fires for 3. Sura gets it back and banks it in. His first 2 of the game. Dante Calabria in the game now for North Carolina with the ball.
Seminoles trying to buy a little time here. 2-3 match.
Calabria, a 6'4" freshman from Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. Montrose. Inside, Robinson. Calabria gets it back.
Calabria out there in the middle of the floor with reverse dribbles and gold jersey just whizzing by him.
Too strong. Robinson gets it back. Here come the Seminoles. Last touch by Rodel. Correction. Last touch by Dobard, and it'll be North Carolina ball. Thought Rodel got a hand on it, Bucky.
Yeah, the last 2 times down, the Tar Heels had enough people back, but no one was really ready to stop the ball. And they got a reject on that one and a turnover on this one, but they were very fortunate. Dean Smith very aware, against this club, you've got to get back. Good teams make the transition from offense to defense.
Reese, Calabria, and Montross all go out of the ball game now. Wholesale changes. Phelps back in. Nice pass inside the alley-oop to Lynch. Lynch now with 12 points.
No pressure on the ball. Had plenty of time to measure that one. Perfect pass. Just like you diagrammed it.
Tar Heels by 3. Robinson has it blocked. Lynch carries it out of bounds. Florida State ball. Interesting movement, though, by Florida State.
Also a smart move by Lynch before you just carelessly save that ball under your defensive basket. As it was, he carried it out, but they got a chance to set up their defense.
Bobby Sura can't get it to drop.
Phelps takes the ball all the way into the paint and doesn't look at the basket.
Salvadori down low with a little jump hook. Followed by Sullivan, and there's Lynch. Finally, Dobard gets it. And the foul will be called on Sullivan.
The Seminoles would love to get out and run, but they can't get the ball off the defensive board. It's like a volleyball game. The Heels are all over that offensive glass.
That's the 7th team foul against North Carolina, so Florida State will be shooting 1-1. Rodney Dobard will be at the line. 6'9", 210-pound senior from Delray Beach. He's hit 51 of his 79 free throws this year.
An amazing game against Duke on Wednesday night. Was shut out, did not score, and yet he had 5 rejects.
Oh, he is the king of block. Averages 3 a game. Had 5 blocks against Duke.
Duke just came off of him. Anytime that ball went into Edwards, they just gambled, and it sure paid off. Only twice, Pat Kennedy said, since he's been in the league, has somebody came out and taken him right out of the game early and kept him out, and that was Duke and Durham both years.
Carolina by 2.
He can pick it up, he just can't dribble.
Derek Phelps working against Cassell. To Rodel. The guy with the hot hand has been Lynch. Shot clock at 15. Salvador with the turnaround. Phelps with the rebound, the putback, and he's fouled by Dobard.
Offensive boards.
That's 2 on Dobard. ACC action continues tomorrow night. Georgia Tech takes on NC State. That's 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, as Atlantic Coast Conference basketball ends its final week of the regular season and gets set for the big tournament.
Carolina has a tough week. They've got Wake Forest and Duke remaining both at home, the 2 teams in the conference that have defeated them.
Phelps misses the first one.
Florida State, on the other hand, 1 more game remaining at Georgia Tech.
Pinches the second one.
Ball like it just barely made it.
Cassell pushes hard, gets it back to Sura. In the paint, we're tied.
Sura, so much of their offense for them to be even tied against a quality team like North Carolina, with him just scoring 2 points, is amazing.
He has 4 now, Bucky. 29-29 is our score. Last touch by Florida State. North Carolina ball. 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the first half. We're tied at 29, and we'll be back after a word from our good friends at Budweiser. March Madness begins Friday, 12 o'clock. It'll be the 4th seed against the number 5 seed at 2 o'clock. Number 1 versus 8 or 9. Of course, that game will be decided Thursday night between NC State and Maryland. 7 o'clock. It's the number 2 seed against the 7th seed, and then at 9 o'clock, 3 versus 6. So the ACC tournament upon us as we head into the final week of the regular season of the Atlantic Coast Conference.
The team that finishes 2nd is probably going to catch Clemson. The team that's going to finish 7th, and believe me, Clemson is playing as well as I've seen them over the last couple of years. That is no bed of roses.
Montross puts it on the floor, gets in trouble, and as Robinson taken away from him, possession arrow belongs to North Carolina.
What about 3-second call? Pat Kennedy whispering in the officials here out at the top of the key. Normally when a player goes down that way, it's an automatic walk.
2:35 to go in the first half. We're tied at 29. Biggest Carolina lead was 3 points. Biggest Florida State lead was 3 points. And we've had 5 ties. Phelps finally gets it into Williams.
The key to the Seminoles' move here is get some possessions and run. They've been unable to get the ball off the board and get into their transition game.
Alley-oop is knocked away. Reese gets it back, and I believe it's on Dobard. It is. That's his 3rd.
Pat Kennedy between a rock and a hard place here. I think he'd like to extend his defense, do more trapping, try to spread out Carolina a little bit. They're converging in that lane, beating them up on the glass, but I think he thinks his team's a little bit tired, and he's trying to buy some time to the half.
Wells replaces Dobard in the lineup for Florida State.
But this kind of a passive defense right here enables them to thread the needle down low and muscle the Seminoles underneath.
Reese in the paint.
Well, they're running their offense inside the foul line.
2-point Carolina lead. Robinson lost it once he put it down, and Lynch double dribbles. Bobby Sura had a great pass to Maurice Robinson, and they couldn't handle it.
He throws that to Edwards. It's a bucket.
Give that turnover to Stan Roth, the official.
Good defense, Stan. I thought at first Reese hit it. That could have been a technical foul for Lynch's pass.
Cassell can't find the range from beyond the arc. Rodel gets into trouble. This is Lynch, and he's had a hot hand. Wells with a strong pull away. Here comes Cassell. To Edwards with a reverse layup. Nicely done. Tied at 31 as we approach the 1-minute mark, first half. Montross blocked by Sura. And the foul.
Nice dump down pass. A strong move to the basket by Bobby Sura. Tough little guy from Wilkes-Barre. Going in there to try to make this hammer. The senior, Byron Wells, playing like a man possessed off the bench. Dobart going out was a serious problem right there under 2 minutes. Carolina can score points in a bunch. Wells has given him good play. You expect that from seniors on senior day.
Montross with 5 points, trying to make it 6. Does, and it's a 2-point lead for the Tar Heels. Boy, Montross has been on a tear over the last 7 games. He's averaged 17 points, 8 rebounds, and hit 47 of 78 free throws. Edwards gives it up to Robinson, and he's fouled by Montross. Good power move by Robinson. Edwards makes it happen with the pass. Robinson has Montross with the back to him, and then the foul. Great court awareness, great vision by Edwards. And Montross never did see Robinson slipping down the baseline. That's 2 on Montross. So Maurice Robinson, 6'6" freshman at the line, needs to step up to another level today, because he's being called on to play a lot more minutes with Ward not playing. 41 seconds remain in the first half. We're tied at 33. Tim Brandt and Bucky Waters with you. Bucky has just broken from our table to go over, position himself to catch one of the coaches, Pat Kennedy, as he leaves the court for half. Phelps will hold it. Shot clock at 18. There's a 1-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. Shot clock at 10. Reese, nice crossover move, throws up an air ball. Sura's got to fire in a hurry. It's good if it goes. No bucket. Pat Kennedy wanted that shot to count. But it was clearly after the red light had gone on. Rusty Herring, the official, will go over the scorer's table, give the ball back, and that'll end the first half. But take another look. Bobby Sura, you see the time remaining in the half. Now watch the red light. It's on before the ball leaves his hands. Wow, what a half. So the first half ends. We're tied at 33. Right now, here's Bucky.
Because it seems they've had so many stickbacks, but they have definitely made this a half-court game, and that's been bad news for the Seminoles. Boy, we talk about the light blue on the glass today. They have been very impressive. There's Lynch going right back up. Excellent board. Kept it high and stuck it right back. Now he's posting up inside. Again, taking advantage of the rookie Robinson. Nice soft turnaround. He has been omnipresent. We talked about the guard matchups, but look at the center comparisons. Dobard, 5 points, 3 fouls, 2 rejects. Montross, who got it early and then couldn't get it. Could not get any rejects, but he's been a force down inside. There's a nice dump down pass. One of the few times the Seminoles have looked good off the half-court offense. We know when they're at their best, it's when they're going. There's that quick reject from the back. Sam actually stole that one from the top of the head. This was early, 1 against 4, but for Sam Cassell, that's about even at the end of the break.
I thought Sam Cassell had a sensational first half, and of course, there's Douglas Edwards with 12 points.
Yeah, he's got the great hands inside. He's also been finding open people. You think about Charlie Ward with this team, with all that firepower, getting ready for the tournament. I think they're going a long way.
All right, we're all set for the second half. We'll have that for you right after this. Stay with us.
Coverage of ACC basketball is brought to you by Ford, Pizza Hut, Chick Tracer, Central Fidelity Bank, AT&T, and by the Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company.
Well, the first half had 5 ties, 3 lead changes. We're tied at the half, and the first half came to an end with a controversial shot. Now watch this and see the red light. Here's Sura's shot. You see the clock. Now watch the follow by Wells. See if that red light doesn't go off before, there it is, before the ball leaves his hands. That's a good call by the officials, no bucket.
There's Bobby Sura trying to make amends for our first half where he was amazingly frustrated, but typical Bobby Sura, doesn't look worried at all.
Ford keys to the win, Bucky.
Well, the Heels have got to continue to make that force on the board. Not only are they scoring, but they're keeping the Seminoles from running, and I got to believe that shooting's going to improve. They keep trying to keep the Seminoles on defense. They're not looking for the shot.
All set to start the second half. Wells brings it in for Florida State. Only one in foul trouble thus far is Dobard with 3.
The Heels, tough man for man to start.
Sam Cassell to Sura, almost had it picked off by Montross. Dangerous pass to Wells. Outside to Cassell. To Wells, great touch pass by Dobard. Great touch pass.
Incredible interior passing that time by Florida State. Almost an overpass.
Here comes Edwards.
Seminoles now coming down, full court pressure. This will help to negate that offensive rebounding by spreading the Tar Heels out a little bit. The problem with extending the defense for Florida State, it takes something out of the team offensively. It's a 1-3-1 and a chaser now. Sura is tracking Donald Williams.
4-0 run by Florida State to start the second half. Inside the Lynch. He's fouled by Wells.
It's really hard to conceive. There are 4 Florida State players just kind of hanging out in the lane. Sura's playing a little defense on Donald Williams, but the rest of them just kind of standing around. And that pass went right through Douglas Edwards, showing that centers can break away, steal as well. Boy, they don't think twice. When they get a possession, they're gone.
Speaking of steals, here's the all-time Carolina leader in steals, George Lynch. Makes the first one. Here's a guy with over 1,500 points, 900 rebounds, 200 steals, 200 assists.
Well, he had 7 in that last game with Florida State. Tremendous part of that comeback.
And he makes it a 37-35 Florida State lead. Wells for 3. In and out. He's not afraid to shoot from beyond the arc, is he?
They're not shy.
Williams has the same problem at the other end. Edwards with a rebound. Keep in mind, Williams had that big game against Florida State. against Florida State January 27th. Last touch by Home. Looked like Lynch chased it out of bounds. It was forced by Cassell. North Carolina ball.
Great effort here by both. I couldn't tell, Tim.
Went off both their hands. Nonetheless, Carolina has it.
That's just being a good host. Southern hospitality. Right. Now it's Cassell tracking Donald Williams into 1-3.
Reese.
Oh, nice.
Running one-hander by Reese makes it a tie game at 37.
Tar Heels still passing up the outside shot and taking it to the basket.
Tough pass to Dobard.
Boy, Douglas Edwards, he doesn't catch it, he just deflects it. Tremendous hands for a big man.
Puts the Noles back up by 2. They're giving Phelps that long shot. He won't take it. Reese will. And he drains it.
When Reese hits that outside shot, it makes him doubly dangerous because he can really take it to the hoop. Again, the Heels changing defense. Now it's a 2-3.
Carolina has its first lead of the second half.
Carolina showed that zone in the tournament last year. Surprised Florida State.
Derek Phelps with the rebound. He pushes it quickly for the Tar Heels. Williams walks. Turnover, North Carolina. Dean Smith wanted the foul. Good no call.
He's not looking for a handout. He doesn't say much, but the gestures are all telling. I did think Sam had a little wrist on that one.
Bobby Sura now 0 for 5 from three-point range. He has just 4 points today. Here he is with the ball.
Boy, he's an explosion waiting to happen.
Here he is. Just cannot get it to go down. That's 0 for 5 from beyond the arc.
It's like he's leaning back a little bit on that shot.
This foul will be called on Lynch.
Florida State not getting back well. Sura that time, I know he's feeling a little sorry for himself for that outside shot. Just a little more than a walk back, and the Tar Heels are really hustling and establishing down low. Lynch has had a field day down there.
He has 2 personals now. 16:05 to go in the game. Wells again. Offensive goaltending by Bobby Sura. Ball was still in the cylinder.
From here, that looked like a terrific call. That Wells off the front of the rim. Would it have gone in if he hadn't touched it? Looked like it might have. It was an excellent call. For a guy not having a good day, he's got a great sense of humor.
Yes, he does. Here's Phelps. Call his foul on Wells. That'll be his second.
I'm looking for the Heels to try to take advantage of Dobard's foul situation. Having 3, and Dobard loves to block shots. You isolate him down low, you got a good chance to get that 4th.
Dobard has 3, Lynch has 2, now Wells has 2. We'll be back after a word from our good friends at Bud Light.
Well, to Edwards, to Dobard. Superb interior passing, all by the front line.
Florida State leads by 1. 6 ties, 6 lead changes, and you look at this, the assists. 12 for the Seminoles.
But this is still the kind of a game that Dean Smith wanted to see. He did not want 85 or 90. They've established everything on paper, but still the Seminoles are right there, and that's got to worry the Heels.
Shot clock at 20.
Florida State resting in this defense.
Phelps with a great reverse move and lays it in.
Bobby Sura just punched his ticket and let him go by. Figured he had help behind, and he did. Nobody picked up.
Carolina leads by 1. Sam Cassell fires. And Salvadori touched it last. It'll belong to Florida State.
Bobby Sura, an amazing leaper. I mean, he's right up there with Salvadori, Montross, getting a piece of that ball.
Dobard with the jumper. No. Nice block out by Reese.
He sure did. He caught that one flat-footed. He could have let it hit the floor.
Steal by Sura. One left-handed, one right-handed.
Rodel thought he had a foul out there at midcourt, which would have been a good foul.
This is Reese on the baseline. He gets up. Wells with a rebound. Tempo picks back up. Dobard wide open. Phelps fell down at his feet. Phelps to Reese. The bucket will count, and he's fouled.
Seminoles are tired. They're extending their defense. They're down the floor pressing, but they're just not getting back.
Foul is on Dobard. That is his 4th, and that is big.
Maurice Robinson into the game. Now here's a look. Rodel backs off the double team, makes the long cross-court pass. The Seminoles don't get back to help. It's 3-on-2 underneath. Dobard thought about it, forgot about it, and it was too late.
Brian Reese trying to make it a 3-point play. And he does. We have the 7th tie of the game.
Pressure man for the Heels. This is where the dribble penetration, and you don't want to go baseline. That's where the Heels are strongest.
Big block by Salvadori. Phelps at the other end lays it in. Cassell to Sura. No look past Edwards.
Very cavalier with the basketball is Bob Sura. He makes some incredible passes. He makes some, I think, Pat Kennedy wish he could have him back.
Salvadori with the rebound. And a little jump hook. Carolina now has its biggest lead of the game, 49-45.
But the tempo seems to be going in Florida State's favor. Now the matchup zone by the Heels.
Bobby Sura's shot is short. Carried out of bounds by Edwards. Ball will belong to the Tar Heels.
Sura just not hitting the outside shot. I look for him to start putting that ball on the floor with that good dribble penetration into the lane.
Montross comes back in. Sullivan back in. Reese goes out. Salvadori goes out. As Dean Smith continues to work his bench.
Yes, he has.
Wells blocks it from behind. Last touch by the Noles.
Wells has given the Seminoles a big day here.
Just over 12 minutes remain in the ball game. With a win today, Carolina could move into that top spot in the national polls, with Indiana and Kentucky both losing this past week.
Still have 2 games next week with Wake Forest and Duke at home, but they would surely be in the driver's seat for the top seed in the ACC as well.
Shot clock at 8. Inside to Montross. Has it blocked down from behind by Edwards. The foul call from way out front. Stan Rote was right there, didn't make the call. Rusty Herring did from 3/4 court.
Montross with a direct feed into the post.
Boy, that looked like a good block.
Yeah, a hand is part of the ball in that situation.
Good block.
There's that down inside again. That's trouble. Boy, that looked like a good block, especially from our angle here.
Sure did. And the official on the ball did not make the call. 11:46 to go in the game.
However, some really bad calls have been reversed over the year by a guy away from the ball who really did have a better angle. I just think in that particular time, it wasn't an improvement.
Eric Montross has been on a tear over the last 7 games, averaging 17 points.
He only played 22 minutes in the first game with early foul trouble. He's making the most of it.
Pushes the Carolina lead to 6 points. We'll return after this from Pepsi.
Per game. Off the bench, Kevin Salvador. He starts it with a reject. A big one bounce. Rodel. Phelps at the other end. Wells wisely gets out of the way, out of position. The Heels, who are not noted for quickness that time, very impressive in the up-tempo.
9-0 run has given Carolina its largest lead of the game. 6 points. It's 51-45.
Well, they used to make him runs against this team.
Edwards banks it in. Nice move.
They got down 17 in the first half in Chapel Hill, brought it back to 4, and then went down 17 at the half. You got to respect Florida State and their ability to get them in bunches.
Inside to Montross. Little turnaround left-handed hook. He's fouled. The bucket will count. Carolina pushes its lead to 7.
Seminole defense really breaking down over the last several minutes. When you see Montross getting that direct pass in the post, again, they're picking on the rookie, 45, Maurice Robinson. No help for him. Montross having his way. 2 things are a problem. One, there's no pressure on the ball. In that Duke game on Wednesday night, there was tremendous pressure on the ball, and the offense just never could get started. You look at Carolina, they're just picking their spots. They got all the time in the world to isolate and take advantage of their size underneath.
54-47 Tar Heels. Knocked out by Montross.
Boy, Montross out there in the overplay, 35 feet from the basket.
Ron Green Jr. had a fine article in today's paper on Montross, an outdoorsman. Been to Alaska 3 times. Here's Wells on the baseline over top of Montross.
Boy, has he come a long way.
Cassell with the steal. And he's fouled by George Lynch. That'll be his 3rd.
Derek Phelps got the Heels in trouble by dribbling into that corner.
Pat Kennedy's upset. He thought the call should have been on Montross.
I think Montross got him too, but I think he was the second one to get there.
Pat Kennedy really hot with Rusty Herring. Cassell at the line. Makes the first one.
Watching the Seminoles practice yesterday, getting ready for this game in Montross, they had their own 7-footer. Andre Reed, who was the starter early, was out, and they had a chance to practice against one.
Reminder to stay tuned for the Players of the Game Award, brought to you by Nations Bank. Cassell misses the second one. Carolina by 4. Williams. Reese with the rebound, gets it back to Lynch. Tough 360 one-hander by Lynch. 56-50.
Just a great athlete.
Makes it 56-52. Good ball game.
Yeah, if you're going to have a turnover against the Seminoles, have it deep. Have it from the free throw line to the baseline. Then you got a chance to get back.
This will be called on Montross. He was backing in against Edwards and eventually just threw a hand.
The Tar Heels keep going after Maurice Robinson.
Watch this.
Again, the direct pass inside. Hello. How are your sinuses? A lot cleaner now. I got this much room, but I want this much room.
Montross goes out of the game along with Rodel. Montross with 3 personals.
Heels back in the 2-3.
Dangerous pass to Dobar. Can't get it to go down. Big rebound by Edwards underneath. Takes it back strong in the whistle. This will be called on Salvadori. Salvadori and Sura have a few words.
Dobard with the lefty hits the front of the iron. It's up there soft. Douglas Edwards pump fake, gets it back in a thrashing machine. We couldn't see here where the foul was, but
little elbow by Edwards.
Oh, Kevin Salvadori was very vocal, and he got in a little bit of a debate with Bobby Sura. 2 guys from Pennsylvania not getting along real well here in Florida.
Edwards having a good day. 18 points, 5 rebounds. 2 for 2 at the line.
You know, you keep thinking about Florida State and Sura just not having a good day. Without Ward, etc., it's amazing they're hanging in here. You keep thinking Sura's going to get off.
In 86 games at Florida State, this senior at the line has averaged 17 points, 8 rebounds. And Montross comes back into the game to a resounding boo. Lynch will get a break.
Twin towers now for the Tar Heels. Salvadori and Montross in there together. That should make them a little vulnerable to the press. Florida State's got their smaller, quicker team on the floor.
Edwards misses the second one. Tar Heels by 3.
I'm surprised Florida State not pressing when they can. Especially with the 2 big guys in. Whoa! Dean Smith now opens the floor with a 3-point lead. Well, it's a two-edged sword. It certainly frustrates Florida State. It also gives them a chance to rest. And Dean has been turning that bench over all day to hopefully have the fresh players down this stretch.
Shot clock at 10. Carolina turns it over.
I think Salvadori thought the ball was deflected. He just kind of watched it go out.
Eight minutes and 39 seconds to go in the game. Carolina by 3. Sam Cassell for 3.
Carolina again taking the ball out of the net before Florida State can set up the press. The Seminole quickness, 2 7-footers, and they come away with it.
Cassell's shot is short. Phelps pushes it hard to Reese. Kick it back out to Williams. Yes, for 3. Bobby Sura calls it before the officials do. It was a kick.
Pat Kennedy in demonstrating the kick put his loafer 10 feet onto the floor, but he got the call.
7:40 to go. We'll be back after a word from our good friends at Bud Light.
Wells to Edwards to Dobar. We don't need guards to handle the ball for us. We're quick and slick, says the front court of the Seminoles.
Bucky, that three-pointer by Williams was his first today. He had missed his first 5 from that range. Now keep in mind, he's the guy that came off the bench in the first game between these two clubs to score 19 points and lead that comeback. Here's Bobby Sura for 3. Just cannot get it to go. See the 3-point field goal shooting today.
That's like an accident waiting to happen, though. You got to believe, as much as they depend on it, that Florida State still has plenty of time to get it hot. Down 5 now.
Reese kisses it off the glass to make it 61-56. 7:13 to go in the game. Couple of good pump fakes by Cassell. Got 2 players off their feet.
Boy, he had lingerie all over the floor there. But you got to respect him, because you never know when he's going to put it up.
Tar Heels by 3. Lynch has his shot partially blocked and loses it out of bounds.
Great effort that time. That really symbolizes the game he's given the Heels today. Took a piece out of the scorer's table. He may be cut. George Lynch, that's called effort. That was a missile launched at press row.
I think he got our cameraman. 6:30 remaining in the ball game. Cassell against Phelps, 5-second call.
The changing defense by Carolina caught the Seminoles unaware. It had been a while since they'd seen the man. One 3-1 in a chaser. Sam Cassell on Williams.
Reese penetrates. Nice move and the easy bucket.
It still amazes me. There are 4 Florida State guys just standing in the lane, and yet Carolina continually goes to the basket. They're giving them the outside shot, but they're able to lay it up.
6:09 remaining, 63-58. North Carolina leading.
Offensive attention by Sam Cassell, and again taking that ball down in for 10-footers. Good interior passing this time by the Heels. George Lynch with his pirouette for a deuce. That's the most genteel thing he's done today. He's been punishing the Seminoles with his scoring and his offensive rebounding.
Bucky, the official attendance of the Leon County Civic Center is 12,500. But now we're told the attendance today, 13,251. Well, they got people standing around here.
Coming out of the timeout, the Heels show yet another defense, the run and jump. Douglas Edwards at the high post. Made the catch, punched out to Wells. They have no inhibitions at all from taking that quick 3.
Tar Heels by 5. 5:40 to go in the game. This is Williams, left alone. And the follow by Reese is good.
No defense at all for Florida State. People taking uncontested 15-footers and then getting offensive rebounds.
This matches North Carolina's largest lead of the game. And the foul by Sam Cassell.
Nobody back for Florida State. The 3 big men aren't even close to getting over half court. Sura puts it in glide, just cruising down the floor. Sam Cassell makes a great effort, but the next 3 guys down are all in blue jerseys.
Donald Williams at the line, had that big game against Florida State January 27th. He's been the high scorer 8 times this season. Wells goes out of the ball game, and Hands comes in for Florida State.
Look for the Seminoles to press now. They got a very small team on the floor.
Williams, an 81% free throw shooter, makes his first. He's made 63 of 78 free throws this year. Very tough.
Nice rhythm.
Push the lead, 67-58.
I think Smith, sensing the press coming, goes with Rodel, a good big outlet and good ball handler.
Break the press rather easily. Florida State desperately needs a run here. Offensive call against Sam Cassell.
All of the changing defenses in the Carolina system giving Florida State a great deal of difficulty. Charlie Ward just seems to assimilate all that and get the ball to the offensive threats. Sam Cassell, as good an adjustment as he's made to the point guard spot, just not good at reading those changes. Gets himself in trouble, gets double teamed.
It's been all Tar Heels over the last 4 minutes. Phelps, nice pass to Montross. 69-58. This game getting away from the Seminoles. Last touch by Lynch.
The breakdown for the Seminoles is defensively. Tar Heels coming down now and just having their way.
Rodel comes in for Williams. Salvadori checks in as well. Montross goes out. Dean Smith at his best right here. Rodel with the steal, ahead to Phelps. And he's fouled by Dobard, and Phelps is hurt. That will be 5 on Dobard as he walks over to the Seminoles bench.
Some conversation between the coaching staffs. Dobard coming across, goes for the ball. I mean, it's not like he went for his head, but he really came down hard.
Dean Smith using this opportunity to work the officials. He wanted the intentional foul called.
When you make that block, young people, come with your inside hand. It looked like it might be a shoulder injury. By coming across with the outside hand, by the inside I mean the hand closest to the rim, he had a chance to block and avoid the body contact. When you use that outside hand, you bring your body into contact, and that was heavy duty.
So Dobard leaves with 5 personal fouls. He's done for the afternoon. Donald Williams will check back in, and he will replace Derek Phelps.
Good free throw shooter can come in under those situations, even if it's not exactly for the... This time it's easy. It's guard for guard.
This is interesting. Sam Cassell now going out and asking who was the foul on. See if he remembers. They're trying to keep Dobard in the game. Pat Kennedy is furious.
I haven't seen that expression since the technical foul in Chapel Hill.
Montross came out on the foul, out on the floor when that foul occurred from the bench. Pat Kennedy wanted a technical called on him. Nonetheless, Williams will be at the line. Maurice Robinson back in the ball game. Donald Williams at the line. You see he has 7 points today. And he pushes the Carolina lead to 71-58. 4:30 remaining in the ball game. Hands off balance. Bobby Sura gets undercut by Rodel. And Sura has a few words for Rodel.
Well, the truth of the matter is, Sura went over his back.
They're going to call technicals. Both teams will receive a technical here. Salvadori will get one. At least that was the first indication by Sam Croft, the official.
We have a double technical foul on Bob
Sura really came over Rodel's back. He accused Rodel of riding him out.
Bob Sura gets a technical, and Salvadori gets a technical.
Those technicals, of course, count in your 5.
4:23 in this game, and it has gotten wild. Pat Kennedy is furious. Cassell makes the first one.
Florida State in the bonus with 7. North Carolina with just 5 fouls this half.
Cassell makes them both. That cuts the lead to 11. Montross comes back into the game, and Salvadori goes out, and now the technical will be shot at the other side by Williams. And he is a terrific free throw shooter. It's Salvadori who had the technical. You want to learn how to shoot free throws, just watch Williams.
Very gifted, great touch.
Now the crowd is upset because Carolina has the ball. Pat Kennedy says it should be Florida State's ball. Montross with the turnaround. Seminoles, here they come.
That went with the possession arrow with the double technical.
Bobby Sura for 3. Ten-point lead.
Small team on the floor right now. Good quickness for Florida State.
There's Williams again.
Well, not only does he have that three-point range and then some, Donald Williams now getting very confident about putting that ball on the floor and finding daylight and going to the hoop.
Nice pass inside to Robinson.
We know when these two teams get together, 10 points is nothing. 3:20 to go.
Pass to Montross.
I think Reese really lost control of that ball. It just found its way to Montross.
I think you're right. That pass was an accident. Bobby Sura. He's really fighting it today. 2:56 to go. Time running out on Florida State.
Yeah, but at this point, he really should be taking them. If they're going to get back in it, he's going to have to explode. The problem is defense. The Seminoles have got to hurry this clock.
Lynch kicks it out to Rodel. Back to Lynch. Checks the shot clock, which is at 15. 2:30 left in the game. Williams off balance, has it blocked. Here comes Sura. He's fouled and makes the basket.
What a smart play. Bobby Sura saw the defense coming, saw Rodel coming, kind of measured his gait. Here's the reject. Douglas Edward gets it. Now watch. He sees him. Instead of accelerating, just kind of coasts in, make sure he gets a little contact, and now has a chance for 3. Look for Seminoles to set up full court pressure.
Makes the three-point play. And it's a 9-point lead. 2:15 to go in the game. Way outside to Sullivan. Under 2 minutes to go. Shot clock at 20. Sura goes for the steal and picks up the foul. That's 2 on Bobby Sura.
Foul is on Bob Sura, his second team foul on Florida State. And the time is for 33, Salvadori.
Sura letting seconds get off that clock by not being out in the passing lane, allowing his man to catch a ball and then reach from behind.
Time management is critical here. 1:49 to go in the game. Carolina by 9. misses the first one.
74% free throw shooter.
If Rodel makes this one and pushes the lead to 10, look for Florida State to take a timeout. If he misses it, Florida State gets it, they'll push it. Here they come. Edwards to Wells. Misses the shot. Cassell gets it back. Last touch by Florida State. And now Florida State needs a timeout badly. And they take one. 1:30 left in the game. North Carolina 77, Florida State 66. We'll return after this from the Atlantic Coast Conference. They'll match up for the ACC tournament, which is always one of the highlights of the year. Take a look at the Pepsi game summary. North Carolina 38-26 rebounding advantage over Florida State. Lynch with 16 points and 10 rebounds.
3 for 18 from the three-point line. Florida State, in order to beat a team of this ability, has got to be hot from the outside. Their perimeter guys just didn't do it today.
Florida State with one timeout left. Carolina has all three. 1.5 minutes to go. Nine-point lead by Carolina. Edwards gets the ball back, and he's fouled by Lynch.
Well, it's one thing to lose the possession. What Carolina didn't want to do was get the foul, and to stop the clock.
That's 4 fouls on George Lynch. He's the rebounding leader.
North Carolina with all 3 of its timeouts remaining. Florida State with just 1.
Edwards at the line, 74% free throw shooter. The 6'9" senior playing his last game here at the Civic Center.
How much backspin he puts on that.
He makes it an 8-point game with 1:20 left.
Lots of time. Carolina with no centers on the floor now. All intermediate-sized guys. A lot of confidence in Calabria now, freshman out there. But there are no centers. Mid-sized ball handlers, free throw shooters.
7-point game. 1:18 to go. This is Williams. No bucket. Dante Calabria was fouled, and if you're going to foul somebody, a freshman is a good guy to have at the line, although he's an 86% free throw shooter. He's only been to the line 7 times this year. He's 6 for 7.
Good percentage is right, but they really didn't have time to be selective that time. It looked for a moment there like Carolina was going to just not look at the basket, and Florida State, as a hockey team would do in this situation, brought their goalie out. There was nobody protecting the hoop at all.
Carolina 15 for 20.
Good looking stroke there.
Freshman hit it like he's a senior. Out of Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania.
Father Chad, terrific basketball player. Good genes in that family too.
Misses the second one. 8-point lead. Cassell throws it away to Reese for the dunk.
I think you're looking at the nation's #1 team finishing up this last minute.
I agree with you. 49 seconds to go. Carolina's putting this one in the history books. And with this win today, Bucky, it'll virtually wrap up the regular season title for the Tar Heels.
Well, they've got 2 tough ones. They got a chance to avenge losses earlier this year to Wake Forest and Duke. But the way they're playing today and playing at home, you got to feel good about their chances.
25 seconds left. Cassell fires and hits. That makes it 82-72. But it doesn't look like there'll be enough time. Now, if you don't believe regular season titles are important to Dean Smith, he believes a 16-game round-robin regular season better determines a champion than a 3-game tournament crapshoot.
Well, he puts banners up in the gym when he wins the regular season, and it's been 3 years since they've been able to do that. Florida State, with one more game remaining, has got to hope that Duke and Wake Forest help them out. They play at Georgia Tech on Wednesday night. But if Carolina wins out from here,
Florida State could be playing once again without their main man, Charlie Ward. They're saving him for the tournament. And Phelps is injured. His status we're not quite sure of. He may be out as well.
He did not come back in after hitting the deck awfully hard.
But this will be the 4th loss of the year in the conference for Florida State. North Carolina, with 2 games left, could only have 4 as well.
Charlie Ward in the blue. Pat Kennedy still working the officials. 23 seconds and change, down 10.
I said 4, 3 losses for Carolina. That's all they could have. So this would wrap up the ACC regular season title virtually.
Got the foul immediately.
Lynch to Calabria, and he scores. 15 seconds remaining, a 12-point lead. Academic Cassell has it blocked. And he's fouled. This foul will be on Sullivan. Terrific ball game.
Yeah, it really was. Florida State needed the big outside game to counteract. They shot the ball so well in Chapel Hill. Just horrendous outside shooting today. But give credit to Carolina. I think the changing defenses and the fact that without Ward, this is not a brilliant team offensively, Florida State. They really need to be running and gunning. And the Tar Heels made them play half court and think.
Sam Cassell playing his final game here in the Civic Center. He's a senior from Baltimore, Maryland. He scored over 1,000 points in his career here. Preseason all ACC.
Pat Kennedy still working the officials. He thinks he's going to see him in the first round of the tournament, maybe.
Wells with the foul. Dean Smith wants the intentional call.
I think Pat's still upset where he felt the Carolina players came off the bench and nothing was called.
6 seconds remain in the game. And Carolina by 10. Sullivan adds another one. Rowan comes in. Williams goes out. Williams came up big again down the stretch, just like he did in the first meeting between these two.
Well, he's so deceptive, you know. He doesn't change his expression. You know, he's a young player, but he's an offensive machine. They don't go to him a lot, but when they do, he doesn't let them down.
Bobby Sura. And the follow-up is no good, so that'll do it. 86-74 is our final. The Tar Heels go to 24-3. We'll return after this from Schick.
Since your face can't adjust to your razor should adjust to your face, which is exactly why we designed the Schick Tracer. The Schick Tracer is the only razor.
Budweiser, Nations Bank, Ford, U.S. Air, Pepsi, and by the Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company.
Well, the final score, North Carolina 86, Florida State 76. The Nations Bank's players of the game. For Florida State, Douglas Edwards. He came up big, 21 points, 10 rebounds for Douglas Edwards of Florida State. For North Carolina, George Lynch. And Lynch had 16 points and 10 rebounds. So congratulations to them, the Nations Bank players of the game. North Carolina moves its record to 24-3, and Florida State goes to 21-8. Florida State 11-4 now in the conference, and the Tar Heels, of course, 12-2. Well, we'll be back with some final comments after this. Stay with us.